Welcome to the Refusion Podcast, where we transform patient care.
Welcome back to another episode of the Refusion Podcast. I am Jennifer, and again with me is John. Today we're focusing on something many healthcare providers still underestimate, responding to patient reviews, and why those responses are now essential for building trust, credibility, and long-term patient relationships.
That's right. Patients don't just read reviews anymore. They read responses. A thoughtful reply reveals a provider's character in ways no website copy or brochure ever could. Responding has shifted from optional to absolutely essential in modern healthcare.
Patients use reviews to understand experiences, but they use responses to judge how a provider listens, empathizes, and takes accountability. A calm, respectful response tells patients far more about your practice culture than a perfect 5-star rating ever could.
Exactly. A polite thank you, a measured clarification, or a professional reply to criticism signals maturity and care. For patients deciding between providers, those small signals often make the difference between scrolling past or booking an appointment.
Patient behavior has shifted dramatically. According to Refusion's patient review survey, nearly 59.48% of patients are more likely to choose a healthcare provider who actively responds to both positive and negative reviews.
And this trend mirrors broader consumer behavior. About 55% of consumers say review responses matter to them, and seeing a response makes them feel more positively about a business. In healthcare, that emotional reassurance carries even more weight.
What patients are really looking for is reassurance that their voice matters. A response shows the provider is present, engaged, and accountable, qualities that patients often value just as much as clinical expertise.
When providers respond thoughtfully, they communicate 3 powerful messages: empathy, accountability, and transparency. Patients want to know their experience was acknowledged and that concerns won't be ignored or dismissed.
These qualities build trust quickly. Even patients who never leave a review themselves feel more confident choosing a provider when they see respectful, professional interactions unfolding publicly in the review section.
Patients may not always articulate it, but they have clear expectations. They want responses that are calm, respectful, and human. Defensive or scripted replies often do more harm than good, even when intentions are positive.
A simple acknowledgement, like "thank you for sharing your experience," often carries more weight than a lengthy explanation. When patients feel heard, satisfaction increases almost immediately, even if their original experience wasn't perfect.
Tone is everything. Patients trust responses that are calm, appreciative, and non-defensive. They want acknowledgement without argument, reassurance without oversharing, and clear next steps when further action is needed.
Over-explaining or sounding defensive raises red flags. A composed tone communicates confidence and professionalism, while aggressive or emotional replies can undermine trust, even when the provider believes they are simply setting the record straight.
Timing matters almost as much as tone. Best practice across healthcare and local search is to respond within 48 hours whenever possible. A prompt response signals attentiveness and shows that patient feedback is actively monitored.
Google even encourages timely responses because they improve engagement and visibility. For prospective patients browsing recent reviews, fast responses create strong first impressions and reinforce the sense that this is a responsive, organized practice.
Many providers hesitate simply because they're unsure what to say. The good news is responses don't need to be long or polished. Simple frameworks help keep replies empathetic, compliant, and human-sounding across all review types.
Let's start with positive reviews. The structure is simple. Thank the patient, acknowledge a safe detail they shared, and reinforce your commitment to quality care without referencing treatment specifics or protected health information.
For example, if a patient mentions friendly staff or smooth communication, it's safe to respond with something like, "We're glad to hear you had a positive experience with our team." This shows appreciation while staying HIPAA compliant.
Avoid confirming diagnoses, visits, or care details, even if the patient mentioned them first. Keeping responses general protects patient privacy while still conveying warmth and professionalism.
Neutral or mixed reviews require balance. Acknowledge their experience, recognize there's room for improvement, and offer a clear way to continue the conversation offline so concerns can be addressed thoughtfully.
Something as simple as inviting them to call the office shows accountability and a willingness to improve. It reassures future readers that feedback leads to action, not defensiveness.
With negative reviews, the goal is de-escalation. Stay calm, thank them for sharing, validate feelings without admitting fault, and move the conversation offline where details can be addressed privately.
These structured responses protect credibility while showing empathy. They reassure prospective patients that even when something goes wrong, the practice responds professionally and prioritizes resolution.
Responding consistently is difficult without the right system, especially for busy healthcare teams. This is where Repugen becomes valuable, not as a marketing push, but as a workflow solution built for real provider challenges.
Repugen centralizes reviews from Google, Facebook, Healthgrades, Yelp, Vitals, WebMD, and more into a single dashboard, eliminating the need to log into multiple platforms or risk missing patient feedback.
Everything appears in one place: pending reviews, response status, and timelines. Built-in Repugen reply-way suggestions help save time while maintaining a compliant, empathetic tone, and tracking ensures no review slips through unanswered.
Automated alerts also help teams stay within the 48-hour response window, maintaining consistency and credibility without adding stress or administrative burden.
For larger practices, Repugen supports multiple locations and providers with role-based permissions and centralized oversight, ensuring every profile maintains a consistent professional voice across the organization.
This consistency is critical for building trust at scale, especially when patients compare locations or providers within the same healthcare network.
Strengthening patient trust doesn't require complex systems. Start by assigning responsibility for review monitoring, aiming for a 48-hour response time, using calm language, and identifying recurring concerns that signal improvement opportunities.
Using Repugen's dashboard simplifies this entire workflow, making review management sustainable and effective, even for practices with limited administrative staff or high patient volumes.
Responding to patient reviews is no longer optional. It directly influences trust, credibility, and patient choice. Patients actively prefer providers who engage, listen, and respond, and they use those responses as signals of reliability and compassion.
Practices that stay visible, engaged, and responsive consistently build stronger relationships and a more respected online presence.
For practices looking to streamline this process, healthcare reputation management tools like Repugen offer a structured, time-saving way to manage reviews while strengthening patient trust across every digital touchpoint.
Thanks for joining us on the Repugen podcast. Until next time, stay responsive, stay human, and keep building trust one conversation at a time.
Thanks for listening to the Repugen podcast, your path to better healthcare.